So good morning, everyone. I want to thank you so much for making the time to attend this webinar. I am your facilitator, your webinar designer, Dr. Val Marguerite. I'm really excited to be here with all of you. You have a chance, if you have attended my webinars before, then you probably know what to expect. And that is a motivational, inspirational, enthusiastic way that I deliver my webinars. And I want you to be aware from the beginning that this is what we are going to learn today, and that is persona. How do you show up in the world or in the online world, as this webinar is all about? So again, thank you so much for being here today. I am going to share my screen with you in just a moment. And I hope you're taking notes. I hope you are writing down your questions for me. And at the end, when we are done, I am going to come back on the screen and answer all of your questions for you. So let's share the screen. Okay, more people have joined us. Thank you, thank you. There you go. So let's see. Perfect. Let's have this down here, maybe. Okay, everyone. Once again, thank you so much. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. I am really excited that you're here because this webinar is really powerful. And of course, as with all my webinars, this one has the potential of transforming your life, not only your online presence, helping you design and manage your online presence, but really your holistic life as an instructor, as a leader, as a student, as an educator. So today we are going to learn all about managing your online teaching persona and perhaps also designing it, because we want to make it transformational. I mean, think about it. You have the power to transform your classroom, your online classroom. The students show up, and then what? It's up to you how you manage your persona so students can become inspired and motivated to stay with you online and to learn together. So let's see how this webinar hopefully helps you achieve this goal today. So, So, my name is Val Marguerite, Dr. Val Marguerite. I have been in education, an educational leader for over 15 years. I served in different capacities. I'm really passionate about education because I believe that students, people, have the capability to learn and to achieve their full potential. And so we, the educators, must create learning environments so that people look forward to joining and exploring and creating and finding out their passions and aspirations. So that's why I'm really passionate about it. And I'm so excited to be here with all of you today to help you do the same. My degrees are in sociology, political science, and education, higher educational leadership. I'm also a neuro-linguistic programming coach, and that's where my excitement and enthusiasm comes from, because it's this belief, right? When you believe in a purpose, then you don't need anything else. That purpose alone makes you get up in the morning and continue your work, because your work is bigger than you, it's bigger than me. Our work is for the world, is to making the world a better place. I also teach mindfulness, and I practice for over 6 years. And I have another webinar just on that, because I really believe it's key to understanding our own consciousness. I'm a global citizen and a world traveler. I have been to over 50 countries, and I love to travel. I love cultures. I love people. And I am also a marathon runner. I believe our wellness, being a holistic educator, gives me a powerful perspective and gives me this enthusiasm that I have so that I can show up. This is my persona, remember, so that I can show up and inspire you, motivate you to do the same. And of course, I believe in unlimited human potential. Our agenda today, of course, it's all about you. These learning goals for today have been created with love. You see, when we manage our teaching, our living from a perspective of non-judgment, right? From a perspective of love, of believing in people, that they can rise up to the expectations we set for themselves, then guess what? We are going to be surprised. So today we are going to design and manage your teaching, online teaching career, if you will. We identify motivation theories because it's important for us to know what motivates our students. Why some students stay in the classroom, online classroom with you, and others leave, right? What are the motivations behind it? So as you know, my webinars are all science-based because I believe that's the only way we can make progress. We have to understand how people learn. We have to understand the brain, the neuroplasticity portion of it, which we know simply that the brain changes itself, which means that every person has a chance, right, to develop its ability. And of course, the secret to achieving goals, the 3 M's. Now, intention. Statement of intention. What is your intention for today? Like right now. What is your intention? Write it down. Take a pen and paper and write it down. What is your intention? Did you come up to this webinar with the intention to what? To learn, to listen, to take notes, to be non-judgmental, right? To really open up your imagination. So when we finish this webinar, you are not the same person an hour ago when you signed up, right? When you logged in. You are a different person. You are a transformed person. And this is as a result of what we are teaching in this webinar. But that only happens if you are open to learning, open to understanding, and open to doing the work and taking action, right? So you do the same thing with your students. You ask the same question as I have asked you right now. So let's have an intention for this webinar and write it down, because the brain loves goals, directions, and instructions. That way, the brain doesn't have to work too hard figuring things out. We have an intention. Okay. Now, of course, my intention, let me just wonder quickly. My intention for me today, and as I meditated this morning, I was thinking about us here, right now. My intention was, well, how can I deliver this webinar with the intensity, right? Enthusiasm and the inspirations that you can really become transformational yourself, so then you can go to your classroom online and do the same thing for your students. So of course I had to work out, I had to meditate, I had to create this enthusiasm, which comes from within, of course. And we know that's called intrinsic motivation. And my intrinsic motivation comes from my purpose, which is education for all people, right? Giving the people the chance to rise to the expectations and to achieve their better selves. Now, you know who this person is, right? You are familiar. These things don't stay in very well. So look, we don't teach. If you think about it, we don't teach. We don't tell people what to do. Do you like people to tell you what to do? Yes? Probably not. Well, guess what? The same thing with our students. They don't like us to tell them what to do. What they do want and need and expect from us is precisely what this gentleman here says. to create environment where people feel something. You see, feel the emotions. Create an environment online when people think of you. Oh, Professor Marguerite, what do you think they're going to think about? Enthusiasm, energy, motivation, inspiration, brain work, full potential, right? Positive relationship. So we want to do the same thing for our students. So you are going to do the same thing for your students. Create this learning environment, and that has everything to do with your persona, how you show up. I see more people have joined us, which is excellent. All right, so let's begin here. More than 0.5% of the students drop, fail, something happened along the way. And we have to really think about why. I mean, this is really incredible when you think about that. We cannot come up with solutions, with strategies to help these people, these students succeed. I mean, we have everything we need. We have the science, we have the strategies, we have the theories, right? We have everything we need in order for us to have the effect we need to have in our classrooms. And yet, this is the number we have. And that is a problem. That is really a big problem, and we need to change this. Now, 31% of them, guess what? Those who are graduating, they are not prepared for the real world. My friends, the world is changing as we speak. Look, we are living unprecedented times. It's really difficult out there. It's really challenging for all of us. So imagine, it's really difficult to come on, to log in online and have 30 students or 50 or 60 or even 100 and, deliver your instruction, which I call it wisdom, in such a way that you can make a difference, right? And also to deliver it in with the intention that it's relevant, the real world, that is relevant to the real world, so that what your students learn in your class, it's immediately applicable to the real world. That's what we want. I mean, don't you think it's really sad that so many students spend so many years in a college or university, spend so much money, so much time, years, as I said, and then they finish excited about going to the real world, and they don't have the skills to navigate these challenges, the skills to navigate themselves, right? The skills to pick themselves up when they are down, because the world, as I said, is challenging for all of us. So we want to have that intention. When you think about your persona, you have to think about how can you help your students develop the skills they need for the real world. And how the two are connected, right? The students who are not enjoying school, guess what? They end up in the world, they go out in the world, and they take jobs that they don't really enjoy. Why? Because they didn't have the opportunity during their studying, to connect the two. Their professors, their schools, their departments, the university, the institution. Let's be very, very clear about it, right? The institution did not create programs, environments where students had the opportunity to connect their purpose, their dreams, their inspirations with their learning. Because when they do, this number is going to go down. And then they're going to go out in the world, and they are going to have that opportunity to pursue their dreams and their purpose. So this is what we want to do. And you know what's going to happen when we do that? You probably know already what's going to happen. People are going to be more happier, healthier. They're going to have more enthusiasm, like I do, because they're going to enjoy what they do for work. And make no mistake, 1/3 of our lives we spend working. So it makes sense, right? It makes sense that we enjoy what we do. And we have an opportunity to change that around and find our why, as we call it. Why we do what we do and how we can do it better. After all, we are role models for our students. Okay, so we begin here. Student mindset versus instructor mindset. Everything begins in our mindset, right? Who we are, it's really our mindset. And what we have there when we speak of mindset, it's really our belief system, culture, education, habits, attitudes, everything. The way we see the world, the way we treat one another, the way we teach, the way we think about our students, right? That's the mindset. So I think the first step we need to take a look at is your mindset, to assess your mindset. And then as a result, you can then have a better understanding of your students' mindset. So you can help them develop the mindset, as I call it, the growth mindset or exponential mindset. So, brain and mindset myth. Have you heard of this? Look at this, about 8 of them. And by the way, there are many more. But just take a look for a second. If you have heard of this myth, maybe not all of them, but some of them for sure. So imagine now a person, 2 people, right? One person who believes in this myth and one person who doesn't. What kind of life do these people have today? Just think about it, right? The same thing with your students. If you have students in your class who believe that they are not good enough, who believe that they are not smart enough, who believe that no matter how hard they work, they cannot improve their intelligence. Those students in your class are not going to be excited about learning, are not going to be excited about doing their best in your classes because they don't believe in their ability, right? Their self-esteem, their confidence. So you, as the instructor, have the opportunity to change that. Have the opportunity to change that perspective, because we already know that the human brain is capable to unlimited success. Capable, right? So we just need to create the environment in which people can develop these capabilities. Boys better at math than girls. There is nothing to show that. There is no research to show that. I know many of my colleagues, my friends here teach hard sciences, as we call them, let's say engineering and science. You are, a role model when it comes to this environment, because you can really motivate students to believe in themselves so they can sign up for the hardest courses, your institution offers. Because the more challenging the course, the more challenging the experience, the better it will be for the students. Because as humans, we love challenges, right? We love challenges because with every challenge, with every achievement, we feel good about ourselves. And that's how we improve our confidence and our self-belief system. So one challenge at the time, we become a little better than yesterday. So it's really important that you understand the motivation, the science-based motivation behind the learning. So you can motivate your students to think big and to sign up for anything they want to become, and to not let any limiting beliefs stop them from becoming, whatever they want. So the fixed mindset, growth mindset. So here we are, right? You have a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. You have to assess your own mindset first. Do you have a growth mindset? Do you believe that all your students achieve success? Do you believe that you can challenge yourself and be better than yesterday? Do you believe that you have the confidence to show up online for your students and teach from a place of absolute belief that your students can rise up to your expectations? That's what we're talking about when we discuss mindsets, because our beliefs drive behavior, right? Behavior drives attitude and habits. Yes? So if we believe that hard work equals success in your own environment or achieving your goals, then guess what? I am going to have habits that will allow me to work hard every day and to do what I need to do to achieve my goals. So this is very important. I want you to really take a little time to assess your own mindset and then assess your mindset of your students when we get to your persona. Oh, by the way, I love to see all these people here. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so intrinsic, extrinsic. Obviously, we want our students to be intrinsically motivated. Why? Because that's how they are going to be committed to their goals. Because their goals are related, right, to their passions, to what they care about. So if the goals are related to realistic dreams, then they are going to be committed to finishing, to achieving their goals. So we want to be on this side, right? The intrinsic. The extrinsic, as you see, the extrinsic, it's all about extrinsic. I am motivated by something. And when that something is no longer there, guess what? I'm looking for something else, and something else, and something else. And as a result, we are never really happy, right? Like really authentically happy. Not just happy for a moment while I'm getting a raise or a bonus, but happy from within, happy with my work, happy to know that my work matters and has a value. Now, theories of motivations, this is really important because this will help you understand how to use motivation in your classes online with your students. So if you have this background, if you have this science-based research background, then you are going to show up. Your persona is going to be very different than it is perhaps today if you are not familiar with these theories. So we're talking about behavior, right? Positive reinforcement and negative reinforcement. Positive reinforcement, your students, because it's all about behavior. How do you behave? Is your behavior positive behavior? Do you show up to your class because you want to be better than yesterday? Or do you show up to class because you want to get an A and you want to pass your course? Right? So you see, we have our expectations are higher. They are intrinsically motivated, excuse me. Goal orientation. Many students are primarily motivated by grades. Many students, I should say. And also that is reinforced in the school system because, you need to get a grade to pass the course. But we know that's not the only way you can learn, right? Okay, we have grades today because that's how systems operates. That's how schools operate. They need grades. Fine. But what else do we need to make sure we don't leave behind the 50% that are failing? Because students are not just their grades, right? We are not just an assessment or assignment, grading that we use to understand human intelligence. We know we are holistic beings, right? We have different levels of intelligence. So we need to tap into that in our classes to make sure our students have an opportunity to show what they know, to show their competence. And the relative value of the goal. When you create your assignments, right, in your persona, when you deliver your wisdom, as I call it, your knowledge, if you are relating that to relative value of the goal, meaning that, it will help the students succeed in the real goal, in the real life. Your students will be successful professors and engineers and chemists and doctors, whatever degree and whatever career they pursue, then are going to be far more committed and motivated to your online classes, to show up every time and to give their best, because your teaching, your persona, the way you deliver your wisdom is related to their goals, and their goals are realistic. And the last one, self-efficacy and intelligence beliefs. When students believe about themselves as confident, right? Confident, and they know that, hey, if I work hard enough, I can do this. There is nothing stopping me. I may try 5 times, 6 times, 10 times, but persistence and perseverance, right? Always win. You know my story, probably some of you know my story. And very briefly, I'll tell you that, my parents didn't have a chance to go to school. The school in my village was only 10 grades school. I was supposed to become a farmer like my family. And obviously, I didn't. Why? Because I was taught to believe that with perseverance, hard work, goal setting, role models, listening to other people, I can achieve my goals. It may take me a little longer, but there is no one that can tell me I cannot do something just because my parents didn't have an opportunity for an education. We have to remember that we are our stories, but we also have the power to rewrite our stories. We can use our background and where we're from to really become excited and motivated by that story to rewrite the story for the future. So if we do that for ourselves, if I have done that for myself, obviously, this is what I'm teaching, this is what I share, and this is what I want you to do with yourself, even with your family and children if you have them, right? But with your students, when you go online, do teach from that perspective that anything is possible. And your students, you'll see, not too far out, they will come around and they will be hooked. So, excellent instructors call ordinary students to embrace their own excellence. My friends, every person has something to offer. It doesn't matter where you're from, what language you speak, what culture you're from. Your dreams are just as valid. Dreams don't have color. Dreams don't have a language. Dreams are real to you, and that's what matters. And that's precisely what we know about our students. It doesn't matter who they are. They come to your class because they believe in you. They are looking up to you for inspiration and excitement. They are looking up for you to deliver your wisdom. And that's how you unlock their excellence. So, we are the future. We are the future. No, you don't want me to sing, yes? Although I'm not too bad. But that would be for another time. Teachers change the world. Well, teachers, we should say teachers have the ability to change the world, but many of them do not because they are not trained. It's not their fault and it's not students' fault. It's no one's fault, really. We have to look at the system. Yes, someone, there is a blame to go around, but we don't want to play that game. We want to look at it from a strategic perspective and make it better. We want to transform education because the way it is not working. So going forward, we want to transform ourselves, the way we teach, the way we deliver our education so that our students can be the future and they can be the future that this world needs, the challenging world, the changing, rapidly changing world. They need students who can think on their feet. And we have that chance to transform their lives. So let's do that together. So who are you? What's your persona? If someone is asking you, oh, who are you? What's your persona? What are you like when you go online to teach? What do you say? You see, that's what this is all about. You need to really understand and be very clear about the way you teach. Who are you as an educator? Are you an educational leader? Because we all have to be leaders. The world we live today is expecting that every person, it doesn't matter your role or your title, which by the way, doesn't really matter anymore. And you will see in the near future. As you know, I study the future, I love the future, and that's where we're going. The title is not going to be as valuable as once was. So now we have to operate from a perspective of servant leadership, right? Which means that I am here to help you achieve your goals. When you achieve your goals, I achieve my purpose, I achieve my mission, and together we can make the world a better place. You can be better in your community. I can be better in my community. You are going to make the changes and the difference in your classes, in your community. I'll do the same. So imagine together, each and everyone in our own environment, right? Whether it's community, country, household, online teaching. If you are doing your best every time you show up in the world, if we are doing our best every time we show up in the world, don't you think we can have a better world? Yes? Can you tell me yes or no? Yes, exactly. So think about today, who am I as an educational leader? And write it down. Write it down. Okay, so now we can go through some of the things that are incredibly important and are part of your persona. So you can pinpoint and say, oh, I need to work on this, I need to work on that. Let me find out what do I need to improve here or there. Yes, so tomorrow, if you teach online now, which by the way, how many of you are teaching online now? This summer, what is it, July? So if you are, please send me a text here. Yeah, okay. So this is really about a teaching persona holistically. But today we are going to focus a little more on just the persona, okay? So first, as we said earlier, assess your mindset. Because if your mindset is not a growth mindset, abundance mindset, excellence mindset, then you are not going to make the positive impact I know you can make in your students. Because if you don't believe in your students, how can you deliver the instruction from that perspective? How can you challenge your students? How can you create assessments for your students to show their learning? If you don't believe, right, in science, if you don't yet believe that your students, all of them, have the capability. And my friends, this is what I want to emphasize. We're talking about the ability, right? Capability. The ability of the brain to be as plastic as you want. Yes? And by the way, your brain is changing as we speak. And based on what I know from neuroplasticity, neurons in your brain are firing up. So you want to do the same for your students. So the first step is to evaluate, assess your mindset, to make sure your mindset is a growth mindset, right? And then you can certainly help your students develop their own growth mindset. Yes. Okay. So deliver your wisdom with enthusiasm and energy. So when you log in online, before you get to your online teaching, there are several things you need to do. How are you going to create the enthusiasm? How are you going to create the energy? Where is it coming from? Okay, maybe a cup of coffee. That's fine. A cup of coffee is fine. I had mine early on, but that's not going to be sustainable, right? So then you need to connect your purpose with your message. One of the questions is, why do you teach? Why are you a professor or an educational leader or a student in this particular program or major? You have to connect your purpose. You have to connect your why. And once you connect that, that's going to allow you to create the enthusiasm because you are so excited about your subject matter that you want the whole world to know about it, right? So how do you do that? Well, you have to be aware of how you talk, how you think, how you dress, how you show up, all of which will give you the confidence to look in the camera as I'm looking at you right now. I see you there. Yes? To deliver your message in the best way possible. And let me tell you, we learn, the more we do it, the more we learn. There is no perfection. Yes? Perfection doesn't exist, but guess what exists? We can always do better. So don't be too concerned with, oh, I don't have the confidence to do it. Just do it. If you understand your subject matter, which of course you do, because you are the expert. If you understand the mindset of your own mindset and your students, and you develop your confidence by communicating well, by thinking clearly, which requires preparation. Of course, there is no other way. We have to be prepared. You don't want to know how much I prepare for this webinar, right? You didn't think I just woke up, turned on the computer, and all of this Showed up, huh? So one of the ways that will help you become unstoppable is to have a holistic, a wellness routine, body, fitness, spirit, mind. And I have a webinar about that. If you're interested, please let me know. And I'll definitely invite you to the webinar anyways. But I have webinars on wellness and health and well-being. Because if we are not feeling good about ourselves, we are not going to be as enthusiastic when we log on online. So we have to be healthy. We have to take care of our health. We have to take care of our mental health. We have to decrease our stress level, which it's so much stress going on. So we have to take care of ourselves. Basically, this is what I am saying. Before we go online and teach, before we go in a classroom, whether it's online or face-to-face, face-to-face, I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon, right? But definitely online. In order for us to really be as impactful in your online classes, as I know you can be, you need to take care of yourself, your health. There is no question about it. And I have studied successful people. And this is what they do. They have a strong wellness routine that allow them to stay healthy, that allow them to have energy and to manage that energy throughout the day, that allow them to stay focused and no distractions so they can achieve their goal. All of these things are not happening, by themselves. You are in charge. And for that, you need to be aware. If you have taken my brain filters webinars, then you know what I'm talking about. We have to train the brain to respond to our commands. Yes? So the brain responds to our commands when it's healthy, when it's engaged, when loves what we give in terms of experiences and challenges. So that's why I stress that personal growth, a wellness routine, is imperative to your work, to your life, to your happiness, to your success, to everything you do in life, not only your career. So I hope you take that very seriously, because as you know, I am very committed. I'm a huge advocate for wellness and fitness, because if we don't have our health, we don't have anything. If we're not happy with ourselves, guess what? It shows. So we want to take care of our whole selves: mind, body, brain, heart, soul. Yes, all of it holistically. So we can live, amazing lives. Okay, moving on. So that's the first one, right? You have to figure out how you can show up to your online class. When you log in, you are ready to go. So in order for all of this to happen, you need to have routines in place and habits and wellness and health. Sounds good? Excellent. Next. Explain your reasons for loving your course. What's the story? Make it relevant. Why do you teach? What are the reasons? Tell the students. You have to create a story. You see, we love storytelling. That's how the brain works. We are not going to motivate our students by showing them PowerPoints and facts and data. We can do that a little later. First, we have to connect them with them emotionally. We have to understand what motivates them. So they want to first hear from you. What motivates you to become, what motivated you to become an educator? And what motivates you every day? What makes you get up every morning? Excited. The students want to know. Tell them your story. When I tell my story to my students, that my mother didn't have a chance to go to school to have an education, and here I am, traveling the whole world, going to school on my own, moving to another country without any money in my pocket, achieving all the degrees you can achieve in half the time, mind you. How is that possible? Very simply, hard work. Hard work and smart work, because I know a lot of people who work very smart, 9 to 5 or 8 hours, 10 hours a day, but they don't achieve their goals, or they don't achieve the level of success I know they can. Why? Because they don't have the science-based research that allow them to understand how the brain works, how people learn, how we get motivated and inspired. And that's why I'm here, to help you explore all of those areas so you can achieve the level of success I know you deserve to achieve, because I know you've worked so hard to be where you are. But that's not where you need to stay, right? There's so much you can do, and you can become, and you can achieve. So make it relevant and think about what's your story. What's your story that people love to hear? What's your story? Now, when you teach, which now we call it a facilitating method or coaching style, how do you teach? Do you just keep talking? Do you interact? Do you have students take control? Like, how do you teach? I want you today to stand back and think about your teaching strategies. How do you think your students perceive, which, by the way, perception is reality. And that's why it's important you understand this, because you may think like, oh, what I teach and how I teach is the best. Well, you know when it's the best? When every student in your class achieves success. If our students don't achieve success, we are not successful. Don't you think? Because our job, our primary goal is to really create transforming environments for our students to achieve success. So if you have students in your class that do not achieve success, and if you have tried everything and still did not achieve success, then perhaps it's time to reassess the way, your persona, the way you show up in your class, the way you teach, the way you speak, the way you talk, your energy level, and see what are the areas for growth, for improvement. Model excellence, high expectations, set goals. So when you, part of your persona, are you a role model? Because if you are a role model, you have high expectations. So if you have high expectations for yourself, guess what? You have high expectations for your students. Average is not allowed. Average, the world is full of average people, and that is lost potential. And that's a problem. So if we model excellence in our own lives, if we are the role models ourselves, and we show up in the classroom, whether it's online, and also in life, right? In our relationships with our family, in our meetings, in our engagement with other people, then our students will have to do the same, because you are going to hold them accountable. When they turn in work that is average, you give it back. And you said, I believe you can do better. So I am going to allow you to resubmit your work. Don't take points off. Why? Right? You just want your students to show that they can do the work. So give them opportunities to show you they can do the work. Because people learn differently, people think differently, and people show their competence in different ways. So give them that opportunity as opposed to one size fits all. And set goals. Do you set goals in your own life? Because if you do, then teach your students how to do that. Our students don't have the real world skills, and setting goals is one of the most important skills we need to develop and practice in order for us to have a set goals, a plan in place so we can achieve our goals from a small one to a bigger one to a bigger one, so we can develop our full potential. So that's the second thing that you need to include in your persona. Be the role model. Be an excellent role model. Be unique. Be transformative. How do you set goals? There are so many strategies, of course, out there. And we know that to set a goal is not as complicated, right? But to achieve the goal, that's where the secret is. So if you understand that your goals, first of all, have to be relevant, they have to be connected to your own interest, because that's going to give you the commitment to push through and achieve your goals. You do the same thing with your students. Look, use this with your students. When you set goals for your students to achieve an A in your class, show them exactly how to do it. Show them why they have to do it. Connect the goals with their own interests, right? So you begin with a mindset. And the mindset is what? You can achieve the goal in a simple way. Next is motivation. Why do you want to achieve that goal? Well, because that's related to your commitment, to your passion, to your major, to your career. So that's important to you. It's not about what somebody else wants. It's not about impressing someone else. It's about your life. So if it's about your life, then you, your students, have a responsibility to take the time to really understand why. Why are you here? Why are you pursuing this education? What do you want out of it? What are you going to do with it? Because think about it. We are going to spend 1/3 of our lives working. So we better enjoy it. Don't you think? So please help yourself, help your students, help your colleagues, help your friends develop a goal setting strategy that's connected to their real interest, aspirations, and desires. And then the method. For example, I use the SMART method, or the growth method, but you can use any method. And again, it's all about deep and smart work. It's not enough to just work hard. You also have to understand the strategies, and you have to understand the motivation and connect the whole thing. Make the course personal. Make the course personal. Get the students involved. Tell them, we are in this together, we are a team, I'm not gonna let anyone behind. That's what I do. I talk to them like, they are my peers. While I have high expectations for them, while I maintain, professionalism, right? While I build trust and respect, but I want them to know that I care. I want them to know that I care about their future. And to be successful in the real world, I have to appeal to their emotional side, to understand that, look, I care for you and I'm here for you. So let me know if you don't understand this. Let's try this. If this doesn't work, we try that. And when students see that you are really honest about their success and that you are doing everything you can to help them achieve success, I have to tell you, from personal experience, teaching, training, and coaching for 15 years. Students love it. They love when you speak from the heart and when you come up with, the science, all the strategies, because they see, wow, you have all the tools. So you're not going to leave me behind. You're not going to fail me. So you're going to give me a chance to pass your class. Yes, that's how they think. Give students control over their own education. Remember at the beginning, we talked about that we don't want other people to tell us what to do. Do you want me or somebody else to tell you what to do? No. In the workplace, sometimes we do what they tell us to do, but that's sort of like a compliance. That has nothing to do with motivation. People do it because they have jobs and they have a paycheck, but they're not motivated. They are not enjoying their work fully. And of course, leaders don't do a spectacular job. They need to do their work. They need to take this webinar, right? Because they don't motivate you, the instructors. Because if you are motivated by your leaders, then you motivate your students. That's how it works, you see? We are a team. Often, we, the instructors, they want so much from us, right? But who is motivating us? Who is helping us? Who is inspiring us? Our leaders. Do they do that for you? I don't know. I don't know. Some of them are really great. Some of them average. And some of them They just lead from a position place, like with the title. I am the chair of this department. I am the dean of this department. They lead from with the title. They don't know much about leadership. They don't know much about science behind leadership. Because if they knew, guess what? Our schools would be in a better place, and we would have more students passing our classes and be excited about learning. Would you agree with that? Please write it down, and let's have some questions about that at the end, which we are approaching in just a minute. So give students choices. How you do that? When you have your assignments, when you have your discussions, right? When you have your blog posts, so your students can engage with one another. Offer choices. As I said earlier, realistic goals. Use the 3 M's. Give them that strategy, right? Show them good work, average work, poor work, so they can follow. Many of them don't even know what's an A paper. Teach them how to communicate well. Teach them the skills to do the work you expect them to do. Yes, it is our job. You may think like, oh, but that's not my job to teach students how to do the work. I'm afraid it is. It is. And this is important, by the way, because going forward, we are going to be online for a long time, perhaps forever. So guess what? It will be in your advantage to become your best instructor there is, because that will allow you to have a job you enjoy, produce student success results, right? Make a difference in your own life, your family, and make a difference in the world. And guess what? You are not going to be replaceable, ever. Your institution will love you. In fact, other institutions are going to look for people like you who are delivering the results our students deserve. So please, do all these things. Get to know your students. Learn their stories. Think about it. It's impossible to be as transformative as I know you can be if you don't know your audience. Try to find out who are your students and their stories and their struggles and their dreams, so that you can connect with them. Connection is everything. Connecting. We are humans, as human beings, we thrive on connecting. Like right now, I am connected with you. I am looking at you right now in that camera, and I feel the connection, because what I am communicating, it's about making your life better. This is about you. I created this for you, and it's all science-based, and I lived it, I experienced it, I breathe it every day. I am a transformational leader, and my purpose is bigger than me, than you. It's bigger than everything and everyone. My purpose is to leave the world a better place than I found it. So coming from that place, there's nothing I cannot do. And I learn every day. With every webinar, I get better. And today, you make me better, because you help me become a little better. And that's how you do it with your students. Learn their stories. Ask, hey, tell me your story. And they'll tell you. They'll love to tell you a story. Communicate, communicate, communicate. Be sure about your expectations, your requirements, your instructions, your rubrics. Give students everything they need to be successful in your class. Everything. And communicate that everywhere. Email, and announcements, text, blogs, whatever you have available in your department, in your school. And if you don't have available, go look for it. There are so many resources on my website, valmarguerite.com. Go there, sign up for my plans, for my other free webinars. Develop your own tools, right? Your own portfolio, if you will, your own briefcase with the tools you need for all of your students, and communicate that all the time. Now, communication, it's extremely important, right? To communicate well, to communicate so that people listen and understand. That's sort of like an art, and it takes practice. So practice your communication skills if you think you need to improve in that area. My friends, we're coming to the end. You me, every one of us hold the key to students' future. We have the best job in the world because we have the opportunity every day to transform lives. We just need to know how. And I hope this is what I have provided for you today, a little bit of help to get you inspired and excited about understanding your persona. And what do you need to do to manage, to design it, right? And manage it. When we create learning environments from that perspective, then you can think of it as your own business. You are the CEO of your classroom. You show up every day, just like your business, to create the results. And that's what you're going to do. And you are communicating the results to your students, to your department chair, to your, your school's leaders. When you have a meeting, go there and tell them what you do, how you do it, and why they should do it. Have students speak on your behalf, okay? Because we need to advocate for ourselves. You need to create these stories. And we are coming to the end. Recap, reflect. Reflection is very important. We have talked about what? Mindsets, how critical they are to anything we want to change for the better, right? We talked a little bit about intrinsic, extrinsic motivation, and only intrinsic motivation it's sustainable. And we talked about strategies for designing a transformational teaching online persona. So I want you, if you are not already signed up for my newsletter and also services and coaching, now I have 2 plans that I hope you consider to sign up. I have content and webinars and coaching for members only. So please become a member, and I hope you consider supporting my work if it's helpful to you. And I do have a survey that's coming up immediately after this webinar, and I would appreciate if you can submit your feedback. So now I am going to stop sharing, and I am going to answer your questions. So I hope you have questions for me, okay? So let's do that. Some references, let's stop the share.